Before I read Hebrews, I wanted to show you a slide. This is artist's rendering of what the tabernacle looked like in the wilderness, in the desert. So you'll see that they have the outer court, which is kind of high walls made of skins and such. And then that's the outer court where they would actually sacrifice the different animals. There were tables that they would butcher the animals on. And then they would go into the other tent, which had contained both the holy place, which had the menorah, had the matzah, what they call the showbread, had a thing for incense. And then in the very back, there was a big veil, very thick veil, that you could enter only once a year, the Holy of Holies, or the most holy place. And that's where the Ark of the Covenant, with the lid that was called the mercy seat, was on it. And that's where they would sprinkle the blood once a year to represent God's forgiveness to the whole nation of Israel. So I just wanted to show you that. And because we're moving from Exodus, we kind of got into the whole idea that, well, we looked at the fact that the Israelites, they've been slaves for like 450 years. And all they could do was complain. So they get to right to the banks of the river there, and they freak out because they're like, oh great, here comes Pharaoh. He's going to kill us all. Way to go, Moses. Thanks a lot. You brought us out here to kill us. At least we're in slavery. We had food, and we were alive. So now we're going to die. And Moses is like, oh my goodness. And so boom, he parts the Red Sea. They go across, and they're like, woo, they're celebrating. And then like a week later, they're like, oh man, we're hungry. Brought manna, and then they started complaining about the manna. It's like, oh, we got manna. All we get is manna. I'm so tired of manna. So then he brought quail, and then, yeah, it's very much a reflection of who we are. So what happened is God had Moses create this thing called a tent of meetings. It was just a singular tent, and he would go out there and meet with God. And the pillar that led the people during the day in the desert, that represented God's presence, would hover over this tent that Moses would go into and talk to God through. Then, eventually, and it would kind of come down, and then it would settle, and then it would go back up, right? You can take that off now if you want to, AA. And then, when eventually the tabernacle was built, and then the smoke or the cloud or whatever that hung over the tent of meetings hung over, above, and then every so often it would come down once a year to talk to the priest as it made sacrifices for the whole people, okay? So now in Hebrews, we're jumping to the New Testament. This is Jesus, and this is chapter 9, verses 11 through 15. So it says, so now Christ has become the high priest over all good things that have come. He has entered that greater, more perfect tabernacle that's in heaven, which was not made by human hands and is not part of the created world. With his own blood, not the blood of goats and calves, he entered the most holy place, where once for all time, and secured our redemption forever. Now, under the old system, the blood of goats and bulls and ashes of a young cow could cleanse people's bodies from ceremonial impurity. Just think of how much more the blood of Christ will purify our consciences with sinful deeds so that we can worship the living God. So by the power of the eternal Spirit, Christ offered himself to God as a perfect sacrifice for our sins. That's why he is the one who mediates a new covenant between God and people, so that all who are called can receive the eternal inheritance God has promised them. For Christ died to set them free from the penalty of sins they had committed under that first covenant. All right, amen, and we all could go home. Because everybody knows exactly what I'm talking about now, right? A little bit? Yeah, no, I didn't think so. It's a lot. I was thinking, I do that occasionally. And as I was preparing for the sermon, I'm like, how do I make this? Because, some of of us grew up in churches, right, as kids. And the idea of hell was very, very, very scary. I mean, it still kind of scares me. And I used to hear a lot about it. And now, as a pastor, it's like Jesus talked about it about half as often as he talked about heaven and God's kingdom. But he still talked about it. So I was thinking, how am I gonna go there with this congregation? How am I gonna talk about something that's so ugly, right? So I started thinking, first of all, God is a loving, merciful God. You agree, right? I hear an amen. Thank you. And I was thinking about how when I was in the city in Brooklyn, we were in the city in Brooklyn, and we were living in Sunset Park, which at the time evidently became regentrified and like is really exclusive now. When we lived there, it was the hood. All right, it was the and so what we had is alternate side parking, the street. So I was blessed enough to have a vehicle, which was kind of a curse at times. We had because there was trash like all over the place. And so we had alternate side street parking because they would come 5 days a week to clean the street with a street cleaner, with a sweeper, one of those auto things that they do. Whatever they call it. Street sweeper, I guess. Anyway, and so Monday, Wednesday, Friday was one side, and Tuesday, Thursday was the other side of the street. And in the city, like most of those streets are all one way because there's just too much traffic. So it's all like one way. So we had one way going uphill, and we had to Monday, Wednesday, Friday had to move over here and double park. And the city would let you double park for that time. It was still, they could still give you a ticket if they wanted to, but technically they tend to let it go because it's like, where are you going to go? There's like 1 million cars in the city, so you double park. But if you forgot, first of all, because you forgot what day it was or whatever, you hear this little the little meter maid, right? And back in that time, they had brown outfits on, and people would be yelling out, "No!" And they would curse them out, and they would be like, "Yeah," just like loving giving people tickets and putting it on there. And I remember one day, and I was pretty good about changing because those tickets at the time were like $60, and $60 for us back then wasn't a lot. It could have been $300. It was just a lot of money. And I remember I was just like, I hear this, and I'm like, no! And I opened the window, I'm like, no, please! It was like too late. I started, and it's like, So I went there, I moved the car. The people would actually sit in the car for a few hours so they could move it back so they wouldn't get a ticket again. Because then if they didn't move it back, they'd get a double parking ticket. So if I was late getting the thing over there and then I forgot it over there, I'd get 2 tickets. It was just a pain in the neck, right? Because a lot of people didn't even have cars in the city. And so I was just like, oh my gosh, Lord, like I am so broke right now. So the ticket came with an envelope. You could fold it up, put a payment in there, and send it off. And so I was like, I just said, "Dear Judge, please have mercy on me. It's really hard right now financially. I know I didn't move my car, but I plead for your grace because I need mercy. Signed, Mike." I put in the envelope, sent it off, and I was like, well, at least it gives me a little delay in paying. And about 2 weeks later, I get a note back saying, dismissed. No charge. And I was like, oh, yeah, I think I kind of teared up a little bit. Because it was like me just pleading the case of, I need mercy, right? And this judge, whoever they were, faceless and nameless, had pity and extended grace to me and allowed that to go free. And I was so excited about that. Now, we talked before about the human condition. Now, unfortunately, all of us who are human are born into this world, and we have this thing that's called sin. A few weeks back, we were talking about yeast and how yeast is in the air, and all you got to do is put some flour with water, mix it in, let it sit for a while, and it starts to rise because yeast is just in the air. It's in the womb. It's just as soon as the conception, I don't know when exactly it all gets on you, but it's on you. And as you're developing in the womb, it's there. It's like bacteria. It's like everything else. It's completely invisible, but it's all over you. Some of it good, some of it bad. And then you're born, and then it's like you just have to deal with it. Now, I have this, I'm not going to say it right, cerebric dermatitis. Anyway, it's a skin thing, right? And my body overreacts to yeast. So I get like red blotches, and if I don't put medicine on, it gets kind of flaky and itchy, and it's just annoying. I had no idea it was because of yeast until much later on. I'm like, yeast? I'm not putting yeast on me. It's like, no. It's just all over. And your body, it just overreacts to the yeast. If you were cool like most people, you'd be chill and your body wouldn't react to it. But no, you're uptight. Your skin is all freaking out because the yeast is on it, and it starts doing this. And I got to put medicine on it to make it calm down. It's a pain. But that's the reality of our condition, right? Spiritually speaking, we're born in this thing called sin. And what it does is just on us. The Bible talks about the fact that it's just there. We didn't choose it, it just happens. And the way we respond to that is, it's just complete selfishness. We're very self-absorbed, typically. We tend to be selfish, and we run away from God. So if you look back in Genesis, in the narrative and the story of Adam and Eve, and we've talked about this before, but if you're new, Adam and Eve, they ate the fruit, right? They were completely naked. They were just completely raw before God. And nothing separated them from their communication with God and their communication with each other. They were completely vulnerable. Nothing stood between them until they ate the fruit. And their eyes were opened, right? And they saw that they were naked. And immediately they started covering up. And so Adam has a bright idea of going and grabbing some fig leaves. They seemed big enough. Made some really nice bikini for Eve. Made himself Speedo. And they walked around like, I don't know if that's working, Adam. You look pretty good, guys. But they wanted to cover up because they felt ashamed. That shame is what was the result of their sin. They felt shame. And then immediately put a block between each other. And then when they heard God coming, because God came every day to hang out with them, they heard him coming and they hid. They ran away from God. And God's like, Adam, where are you? It's like a kid who's like this, who thinks he's invisible. He's hiding. It's like we're gonna play hide and seek. Okay, and they're just sitting there. He wasn't hiding from God. But God's like, Adam, where are you? Oh, we're here. Gotcha. What are you doing? Hiding. Why? Well, found out we're naked. God's like, who told you you're naked? You know something? It wasn't until we ate that fruit that Eve gave me. And then immediately he starts blaming her. And then she blames the snake, and the snake loses his legs and crawls on his belly, right? But what happened is that sin separated us from God, and it separated us from each other. And so since that time, we're born into this situation where we want only us. We want our will, not God's will. We want our will, not someone else's will. We want you to play by my rules. Now, if I can manipulate you, if I can force that on you, whatever it is, I want my way, and I'm willing to compromise as long as eventually you do if I'm going to scratch your back, you scratch mine. So I'll give you this if you give me that. What happens if someone says, no, I want all of it? You're like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. You see, that's what happens. So there's a constant battle in the human experience to have good, deep, solid relationships with each other. And we refuse to acknowledge God the way he wants us to acknowledge him. See, there's this big gulf between God and man, and God didn't create it. We keep running away from God. God's like, hey, I love you, come here. And we're like, yeah, I know. And we're just running away. It's like, wait, stop, listen. I love you, come to me. Look at you, you're burdened, you're heavy laden, you've got issues, you've got problems. Talk to me. We're like, oh, so I can talk to you and you'll do what I ask? Well, I mean, oh, so like a genie in a lamp. That's awesome. I always wanted a genie. All right. I'm going to whip out the Bible here and let me rub it a little bit. All right, God. I read a couple of verses. Now you owe me. All right. Pop out here and give me what I need. God's like, I am not a genie. I am God. I love you. I created you, and I created you for a purpose, and I want you to follow that purpose. You want me to follow that purpose? No, I don't want to do that. But it's good. I promise you it's good. No, I want to do my thing. My thing's good. And I go out and do my thing, and I keep running away from God. I was explaining last week that there's something that has to happen for us to stop and turn around. And the Bible describes it with the word atonement. There's got to be something that reconciles us with God, because God's not the problem. We are. God is doing everything, right? So he sets up, and I explained it like that poor woman in Walmart last week who had all those kids. She had 4 little ones, the oldest one probably around 9, and the 9 and 10-year-old was just screaming like at the top of her lungs, crying, not one tear that I could see, but crying. And it's this look, and everybody's looking at this poor woman, and she's just beep, 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 trying to get through, right? She went to self-checkout, which I think was probably a mistake, and then the other kids were kind of like, well, Sissa's being really naughty, but I'll be just a little naughty, less naughty, and I'm going to grab this piece of candy and beep. Yeah, and mom's like, did you just, no, you can't do that. And the other kid's like, oh, she got candy, I'll get candy. Boop. So the other kids saw that one, and they mimicked her and started trying to get through. And the mom's like, no, you do that again, and you're not going to get anything. And she's trying to keep her composure. Well-dressed lady. She looked like she was educated, on the brink of breakdown with those kids. And I said, and eventually she got through it. And I started thinking, what if that daughter, the oldest daughter who set the horrible example and got even the other kids inadvertently, hey, that's on them, I didn't make them do it. I was just acting like a little brat. They stole. You see, because we can always find someone worse than us, right? But it's not, the principle isn't what you're doing, it's why you're doing it. We got a heart that doesn't want to respond to God his way. We want to do things our way. We're smart, we're bright. And God's like, listen, I know I created you. I created you in my image, so I know you've got intellect. I know you've got will. I know you've got all these things, but I tell you that it's not going to be what you think it is. It's not going to work out well. And I want you to come to me. And so with that daughter, the oldest one said, Mom, I really feel bad, and I know how angry you are because you are a righteous and just God. Mom, excuse me, I'm gonna take this candy bar that I love, and I'm gonna destroy it so that your anger can be poured out on this candy bar. Yeah, that would be upsetting, right? Losing the whole candy bar, and so the daughter just starts pulverizing it and squeezing it, and she cut it open so, the mom could smell the chocolatey goodness going away. And mom's wrath is just being poured out on that Snicker bar through the daughter. It's like, yeah, just get it. Oh, I'm so angry with you. That seems weird, right? But that's what the word called propitiation. That's how some people view the atonement. Is that God's anger was being poured out first on the animal and then on Jesus. And just squeezed to death. But there's another word for atonement, which is expiate. And that's the idea of making amends, trying to restore relationships. So it would be kind of like the daughter saying, Mom, I'm so sorry I acted like a brat. Please forgive me. And what can I do the dishes? Let me do the dishes for a week or two to show you that I'm sorry and I love you. And the mom was like, yeah, that's great. And I think that's a good idea. Let's do that. It didn't. The mom was totally willing to forgive because she's a good mom and she loves her kids. But the fact that that child is willing to give something up of her time and struggle a little bit, it shows that she's truly sorry. And that woman, that mother is like, yeah, so she, not only was she forgiven, she atoned. Her sins have been atoned for. See, that's what that idea is. Now there's a reconciliation. So this movement in life, and we're walking on this journey. And some of us, as a child, like myself, was introduced to God I was basically an infant, but my whole life I'd always heard about God. And I was introduced to this idea of God being supreme being. So I never even questioned as a child. I was like, well, yeah, of course, I love God. I go to school. I tell my friends, God, I was so annoying. I'd tell them about Jesus, and stuff like that. I'd invite him to church. I mean, Mike's a nice kid. He's a super nice guy, but it's not like we really want to hang out with him. He's kind of religious, Nice guy. And I just kind of walked that walk because I didn't know any better. Some of us who are here didn't grow up in that at all. Totally nothing. Some of us maybe, Christmas Eve or Easter maybe. Some of us maybe grandma brought us to Sunday school or something. And so the idea of God is like, yeah, sure, I'm a believer in God. Sure, why not? Others of us like, no, I'm atheist. No God. And somewhere down the line in that life of ours, God begins to reveal himself to us. For some, it was illness. For some, it was a dream. For some, it was an experience they had with another person, whatever. I mean, all of us have these different stories we can tell. But somehow, in some way, God all of a sudden whispered into our ear, I love you, and we were able to hear it. It's like, God. Yeah, I haven't thought about it. And sometimes it's a crisis. It's like, but I think I kind of need God right now. And so we set out to try God. And some of us, we start to feel something changing in us. Some of us, it's kind of like, I have no idea yet, but it sounds rational, kind of. So let me work it out. Let me think about it. Let's see where it goes. So we're all on these different journeys. Doesn't make, as of today, I'm fully committed. As your pastor, I'm a follower of Jesus as well as, God. I'm a Christian through and through. I can wear a big button. It says Christian on it. Love Jesus. I can do all those things. But none of it will be convincing unless I show you that I truly love you because God loves me. And I have this overabundance of love that I want to share with you. Because a lot of people can say that they're believers. A lot of people can say they believe in God. A lot of people can be very arrogant and self-absorbed and everything else. And just because they say it doesn't mean they act like it. And we see people going into church, and maybe we have friends that have done that, or maybe we had neighbors, or maybe we have coworkers, and they talk a big talk, but then you see them in other situations, and you're like, they're a Christian? No, thank you. That's what Christians like? I don't want it. And so we start to compare people, and then we start to say, okay, God, if that's what your people are like, I don't think I want it. So it's just all these things that play into our minds and play into our psyches, play into our lives, and it's like God's like, listen, I need you to stop hearing the voices for a moment, and I just need you to hear me. I love you, and I want to have a relationship with you, because not only will this life give you purpose with me, not only will this life, if you submit your life to me, I will allow you to experience reconciliation with people you never thought it was possible, because you are going to absorb. Like I forgave you, you're going to absorb some of that, and you're going to give it back to me. You're not going to hold on to it. You're going to take whatever anger from your friend or from your relative, from your child or from whomever, a neighbor, and you're going to take that because they're going to say something to you that is awful. And instead of holding on to it and making you angry and bitter, you're going to give it back to me, and I'm here to take that from you, and you're going to let it go, right? That's what I can do in this life, and I can guide you in a way that if you're homeless, I can get you a home. If you're jobless, I will arrange for you to get a job. If you're broke, I can arrange for you to have your bills paid for, but you got to trust me. You start doing things on your own, it's going to get rocky. Trust me. Bring me into those conversations. Bring me into your life in every avenue of life. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. There's going to be times when you're like, oh my gosh, and you're looking over the edge and it's like, ah. I hate those YouTube videos where people stand on the top of the building and stand like, look at me, I'm dumb. It's like, you're like risking your life for what? Like, I'm like, okay, watch it, Kevin, watch it. And that's how some of us are. We're standing at the tip of this thing, and we're just like, okay, God, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Hey, forget it. And we start to freak out, and God's like, take a deep breath, relax, I got you. And he said, not only will I do that for this life, but there's another life that's to come. And if you want light and love and goodness, submit to me, because you'll pass from this life having purpose, and it may not be always easy, but it's good, into the next life. Because without you, without me, if you don't want me, you're not going to want me after death. Are you guys familiar with C.S. Lewis? Any of you know who C.S. Lewis is? He wrote The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, and he wrote some other things. He's a British dude, bright guy. He wrote The Great Divorce. I've been reading it. He wrote it in like the 40s. He's since passed. But he wrote it in like 1940s. And what it is, it's a why can't I think of that word again? It's the word I was trying to think of later. It's an easy word. Thank you. Bingo. Good job. Allegory. It's an allegory referring to what hell is like. And this is kind of his idea. And so what he does, he writes this great divorce, because what happens is people die, and they go to this place called Greytown. And in Greytown, it's gray. And it's like there's these homes, and they're all kind of rickety. And this guy comes on this bus, and he's dropped off at Greytown, and he's hanging out at Greytown. And he's actually in the bus, looking at Greytown, excuse me. And so people are coming back and forth, and what happens is this bus is going, and it's going over Greytown. It says bus stop, going over Greytown, going to another destination, which is like heaven, right? And so all these people on the bus are having conflicts. They're just, because they're all so self-absorbed, and this guy's just kind of observing. He's trying to stay out of the fray of things. And as they're passing over Greytown, he starts asking somebody about it, because there's these bus stops at Greytown. And they'll pick people up who want to come and check out this other place. Not really sure where it is or what it is, but it's just different. But as soon as they get on the bus, they start bickering. They start arguing. They start fighting. Because and it's like, oh my gosh, just bring me back home. I can't take this anymore. You guys are ridiculous. I hate you, you know. He just wants to go back to Greytown. Because what Greytown is this place where everybody, as soon as they drop off the bus, they're all congregated, and it only takes a little while for them all to start dispersing and wanting to be by themselves because they have no desire to be around anyone but themselves. And the Greytown keeps expanding because as soon as people get together, they immediately start dispersing, trying to be alone. And this is C.S. Lewis's idea of what hell's going to be like. The people they don't want it, and they go up to the very foothills of heaven, and they see the light, and they hear the music, and they hear laughter, and it's like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with these people? This is miserable. I hate this. Can you please bring me back? Now, it's an allegory, right? But it makes sense to me that people don't want this idea of God, the real idea of God. They want their version of God. We want, I was talking to AI this week, and I was comparing Hinduism and Buddhism and some other things. Just to kind of get an idea. All of them have something that you've got to do in order to reach either nirvana or just Brahma or whatever, this consciousness. We don't do anything except God's free gift, right? A relationship with God, we don't have to do anything. It's unique that way. And if we accept it, then we can go to the very presence of God. And I always thought to myself, since I was a kid, why would someone not want to go there? Why would they rather go to Greytown? And I started working with people, and I know people in my own life that have addiction disorders. And it's like, listen, and I know other parents, we talk, you can come home. You can come home. You can live, I'll let you live free, at least for a while. I mean, you can eat here, you can stay here, you can enjoy this, but you can't bring that with you. Well, then I can't come. What do you mean you can't come? No, I need this. I can't come. I'm not going to do it. It's like this is life. This is bright. This is warmth. This is cool. This is love. And you're rejecting all of that just so you can you live on the street just so you can have that? Yeah, that's right. And if you're not willing to let me in for that, then you don't care about me. No, I care about you. Of course, I love you. And I love everybody else in this household enough to say, no, you can't come in like that. You're welcome. But you can't. That's what people do when it comes to God's kingdom. It blows my mind. I can't understand it. Why would you say no? And it's because that your version, the Bible version of God, is too uptight or too something for me. I want me. I want my way. That just like, I'm like, God, man, if I was sitting on a cloud playing a harp for eternity, but as long as I'm with you, that sounds better. And that's not what it's going to be like, by the way. But even if it was, hey, that's great, whatever, because I want to be with you, God, my creator, my redeemer, the one who gave me love and life. And he says, Mike, I want you to forgive people because I forgave you. We say that every Sunday in the Lord's Prayer. Forgive our trespasses and help us to forgive others of theirs. And then in everyday life, it's like, I'm not going to forgive them. They hurt me. No, I mean, that's the whole idea. The whole idea is someone hurt you, but you got to forgive them. You got to let that go. Give it to God. Try to reconcile. No. Nope. It's like, why aren't you willing? Because there's something inside of us. And believe me, I know. I've held on to a few things with a few people for just a few minutes. A lot longer than a few minutes. Why? Because they're jerks and they hurt me. They hurt me deeply. And God's like, I know. See, I died on the cross to break the power of sin and death in your life. That power that drove you away from me is broken now. That's the power of sin. The power of sin is what drives us away from God. I broke it. It no longer holds you. So you can stop. And then I defeated death through the resurrection, so that now you'll never have to worry about death. You'll be with me forever and ever and ever in this place that is going to be amazing. And all you got to do is let go. All you got to do is trust me and let all that go. Submit to me. Let the anger go. Let the bitterness go. Let the resentment go. Let all of that, leave it at that cross that I died for you on. And follow me. This is the beauty. This is why they call it good news. That's what the gospel means. The good news, man, is that all we got to do is accept God's love and let go. We're holding on to all the junk that destroys us. And God's like, I don't want you destroyed. I want you to live good. I want you to live well. I want you to experience joy in the midst of such sorrow and such hurt and such pain and such worry. I want you to let all of that go and hold on to me, because I am there. I am there with your child. I'm there with your spouse. I'm there with your parents. I'm there with your neighbor. I'm with you and I'm with them. Don't worry. Let it all go. You start feeling a little bit guilty for not worrying. It's like, is this wrong that I feel good even though someone's not doing and not being? And it's like, I feel joy. I feel like that's almost like, I almost feel weird about that. And God's like, that's your sin nature coming back. You don't feel shame. No, let that go. Experience life and experience it abundantly, because not only is this life going to be amazing, the next life to come, off the hook. Won't even be able to figure that one out. That's going to be amazing and insanely amazing. And this is why God commands us. And he says, go out and make disciples of your neighbors and of your friends and people at work. Don't worry if they're going to, don't be a jerk about it. Just love them and then answer questions, but don't be, weird. But show them, teach them, bring them along. All right. We're going to end now. We all good on Hades? All right. Let's pray. Lord God, I pray that you help us to let go of ourselves, our wants, our humanity, all those things that drive us a wedge between us and you and us and other people. May we experience your peace and your joy and your satisfaction here and now, and have that hope for eternity. We love you, and we're so grateful to you. We ask in your name. Amen. All right, if you're able to stand.